Okay, so we're looking at a book here. Jean Hélion, the French painter. He was born in 1904, April 21st, 1904. He died October 27th, 1987. That's the same year my brother was born. My older brother. Alright, so when I Googled his name, it said that he has work on view at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. I've never been there, so I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, Google said it, so it's probably true. When I opened this book, there's a lot of old images of other paintings. Looks like stuff he was inspired by. And I don't really read all this stuff, all these words. There's a lot. I mean, sometimes I'll go back and read them, but not very often. I like that little drawing right there. It's kind of cool. I like to draw a lot. I always have a sketchbook because it's just fun to do. All right, let's skip a few of these pages. Let's get to some of the paintings. Nice little note with a drawing. I like that. I used to write letters to some friends sometimes, and I draw little pictures with them and stuff like that sometimes. Okay, now we're getting into the abstract work, which he was pretty well known for a while, and then apparently sometime in his career kind of switched to just doing figurative works. Figurative paintings with figures. Boom. I like these ones because they're still abstract. That looks like a thumb over there. They're so abstract, but they have figures. The abstractions are figures. The cool thing about experimenting in the studio is there aren't very many accidents. It looks like he's trying a lot of different stuff. I mean, if you look at this painting, like, he definitely slowed down a little bit and just said, let me just paint this in a really naturalistic way. It's really interesting to me that he switches styles so dramatically. A good thing to do is look at the dates too and see how these things kind of changed throughout his career or whatever. He is working with the model a little bit more. This is probably when he was like teaching, or when he had like a studio with a lot of different people that were coming by and able to paint them in different ways and stuff like that, and able to pay models. A lot of still life pictures. Sometimes it's fun to just set up a bunch of random objects and paint them together to see what interpretations might be gathered from them. I mean, like, fruit is really cool because as you're painting it, it can start to kind of rot. Same thing with flowers, if they're real flowers. Or meat, painting some meat over time as it starts to decay and rot. I mean, it just kind of becomes a dance at that point, because each time you go back to it, it's going to be different. I mean, if you're painting it more than just one day. I like this book because it does these expansive views sometimes. You can kind of see like a really big, almost mural-like painting. I haven't seen any of these works in person though, so I don't know. I mean, the measurements are here on the side, but obviously seeing it in person and reading the measurements is always going to be a different experience. John has some really great drawings in this book too. I think you can see his drawing hand pretty heavily in these paintings. I mean, like, I think there's a lot of overlap between painting and drawing, obviously, but with the right materials. This is an interesting one. I can't tell if this is like a jazz club or like in a studio. I mean, somebody's carrying an easel over there. We've got a lot of music stuff around. Music is super influential when you're working on art, in my opinion. I mean, I like to have music on pretty much almost all the time when I'm working. There are some days when I have to turn it off. I'm really curious about what this guy over here is doing. I mean, like, what is he, like, getting dressed in the tent? I'm not sure. Alright, these are the drawings. This is where I get excited a little bit, because I feel like drawings are somewhat, like, just more accessible. I mean, if you think about it, we've kind of been drawing since we've been kids. Most people, anyways. You pick up a pencil before you pick up a paintbrush. That's how it was for me, anyways. That's pretty much it on the plates for this book. I like how it really breaks down his whole life here, though. I mean, I don't know how they, like, you gotta have some really great historians to be able to track all of this information down. Either that, or he was really good at documenting himself, or he had people in his life that were really good at documenting who he was. But this is a good amount of information here, and some good studio pictures. I always try to take some cool studio pictures, because otherwise, how are they gonna know that it happened, you know? Sometimes I post my studio pictures on Instagram at C. Presley, and sometimes I'll just send them to friends. Sometimes I'll just take pictures of works in process, but I don't know, I try to not worry about documenting the action too much when it's going on. Pretty extensive here, like all these pages back here are just detailing things at different points in his life when he did something, you know, I guess career-wise or life-wise. I haven't really read it all, but here's where he died, 1987. He died in Paris. One of the freest minds of his period. Interesting. Nice little final picture here. Just looking off into the world. Both of them. There's some books he wrote. He did write books. He was pretty active with writing. He did some critical reviews as well of other artworks being made at the time. So, yeah, I mean, that's the book right there, John Hélion. I'll be sure to include some information on where you can possibly find this book. But yeah, down there or whatever. Cool.